Hey, what's up, people? All right, let's finish this thing up in Jamaica. Um, I don't even know where to begin with it. It gets pretty horrid, shit starts popping off. So, it's a dark time and a dark place for me at that point. So, I'm not really going to get into all that. I'm sure you guys don't want me to go down a sad memory lane and sit here with all that shit. So, just in wrapping it up, yeah, my baby's mother gets murdered. I take my child and I go back to America. And I guess in saying that, that was very painful. I don't know where or how to go about it, but what I can do is tell you that I never felt no pain like that before in my life, man. It's like I didn't have any reason to go forward or backwards or anything. It's just, I love that woman. I honestly loved her. I loved her with all my heart and soul. And never a day on this earth could I think, I mean, I'm not new to murder and death. It's been around my whole life. People have been murdered and people have been killed, and people have died in motorcycle accidents, and people have died from overdoses, and people have died just, it was their time to go, sickness and stuff like that. But yeah, when Kadi went, that hurt, man. That's when I knew to myself, all that shit they were talking when I was in all these DFY facilities, in these juvenile centers, and I mean, like I said, you look back at my thing, man, and even when I was arrested for graffiti, they pretty much put my arrest record in the newspaper. I mean, they could track that shit back to like 13 years old. I mean, there's even shit before that I've been arrested for. So I've been out there, man. I'm no virgin to shit, but yeah, the way that shit played out, it was horrible. It was very sad. I mean, I've loved 3 women in my life, and I could tell you that I was very lucky to have met these 3 women. I've been sexually involved with hundreds of women. I am not lying to you. Hundreds of women I've been sexually involved with throughout my life. Hundreds. Now, I actually had kept a diary of women. I believe, like Tiger Woods, I've actually had a problem. I'll get into that. I just don't want to smear Kadi name and stuff like that. But yes, I've been sexually active with hundreds of women. I've kept a diary. When I was out in Staten Island, living in Staten Island with this girl I knew that was from up on Park Hill, she found the diary. She was insulted by it. She was upset. She destroyed it, and that was pretty much the end of our relationship. Even though, to this day, we still talk, on Instagram and stuff like that. But, yeah, that was the end. I mean, we stayed as friends and stuff like that. But, yeah. Anyway, the strangest thing with love and with relationships is you could be with, I'm just going to be honest, you could fuck 100 and something women. Let's say 100 women. You could fuck 100 women, right? Then the 101st woman is someone like no one ever before. You get me? It's like, and you don't even realize it. And sometimes it's just number 101 or something like that. And then later on, it's like I've been with girlfriends and they've broken up with me and I've been heartbroken. But then a few of these people, I'm just in a ballpark, I'm not going to drop no names, I get back with them. And then I'm like, what the fuck, man? And I just don't feel the same with them anymore. So then when I break up with them, I feel nothing. So it's almost like who has the upper hand. Like if a woman breaks up with me, it'll hurt. But if I break up with a woman, I could keep it going. Even if it's the same woman. Like it's crazy shit. But anyway, getting into this Kadi Jamaican woman, mother of my child. I love that woman with all my heart and soul, man. I honestly didn't think it was possible. I had no reasons to think of coming back to America or anything like that. I was living the happy, beautiful fucking life with the woman I love. I was on the beach. I go fishing. I smoke weed. It was beautiful. Everything was perfect. And it all came to an end. I mean, honestly, Kadi was like a black female me. Like, it's almost like she could finish my sentences. And it's like I could be open with her. Like so many women I've been with in my life had no idea even what I do or anything like that. I mean, even in the graffiti world, everyone just thought I was some crackhead bum. They had no idea I had a real job or anything like that until later on they find out I've been doing something for 20-something years, 25 years. And I actually went to college and shit like that. They're like, what the fuck? But when all said and done, man, yeah, you can, like, pain with the heart, that's weird shit. Because, like I said, with all these DFY facilities and juvenile centers and all these people picking at my brains, whether they're counselors, social workers, psychiatrists, therapists, whatever the fuck you want to call them, all these people with the shit about me being some kind of a sociopath. Now, a sociopath is a person that doesn't have empathy or feelings towards anything or anyone. I'll tell you, when Katie Ann died, man, I fucking died, man. Inside me, I was fucking dead, yo. Anyone could tell you, man, I fucking shriveled up, man. I lost so much fucking weight. Plus, I had a patch on my eye, because you get down, like, I was also chopped up down there on my shoulder, right, through here, with a machete. I was actually having sword fights with, well, machete fights with people. Like, I have a machete, they have a machete, and someone's gonna fucking die type shit. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, no one died. I mean, I came pretty close to dying, but I didn't die, the person didn't die, but twice I've had machete, like, I don't know where the camera is, twice I've had machete fights. Like, clack, 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 like a fucking kung fu flick or something. I'm not lying. And obviously I'm still alive. But I don't even know where I was going with all that or what that's got to do with Katie. But this woman, she was like me. Like the same things that would bother me would bother her, you know, and it was really just a match made in heaven. And when she was gone, man, like I said, I shriveled up to nothing. Actually, my mother, Celine Dyer, my mother, paid D3, Sammy, to actually come down and fucking get me. And he went down there to Jamaica and stuff like that. And he was with Bobby, you know, who's my child and stuff. And he was pretty much there. He was like, yo, this shit's crazy, man. Because he knew I wasn't taking no shit. You know, it was like people were dying. It was getting crazy down there. But in any event, I left. And I took my child back to America. I enrolled him in public school. And I'll tell you another thing. Getting my child off the island of Jamaica was no easy task, but then it was an easy task. And what I mean by that is the U.S. Embassy, I had to stay in Tavali Gardens down there. Very bad area, if any of you guys know, Coke Andrew, stuff like that. A very bad, drug-riddled area. It's probably the fucking craziest shit on earth. It's literally like Baghdad, man. You got motherfucking metal trucks with German shepherds and fucking, like, these big battering rams, and they're just plowing through shit, man. Like, I'm dead fucking serious, man. Google that shit, yo. And it's near the U.S. Embassy down there. So, Wayne, I've explained about him in maybe a video or two ago about in Jamaica. He was an N-bomb, Indian dude. He used to drive me around and shit. So he had family in Tavali Gardens. So I would stay with them so I wouldn't have to go all the way back. I mean, it's like a 6, 7, 8 hour fucking ride, you know. And some of it was pretty rough terrain. So we would just stay in Kingston and Jamaica, Tavali Gardens. And what would happen is I'd wake up and I'd go to the embassy and I'd sit there. And I'll tell you, the U.S., the motherfucking Americans, they were scum, man. Real pieces of shit, man. The U.S. American Embassy workers, scum of the fucking earth, man. Real bad, man. Like, yo, I swear, man, it's like I was so dumb and out of it. And like I say, I'm street smart. I'm quick. But I didn't realize, like, they pretty, like, a Jamaican actually told me, you know, after it was a shift and I'm sitting there and I'm outside and shit like that, and they're doing DNA tests and all types of shit and this and that. Well, like, one person, they kind of switch shifts and shit like that, so one work crew left and a new work crew comes in. And some Jamaican dude, you know, talking to him and shit. I mean, this shit was all over the fucking newspaper, man. You know, shit was popping off down there. I mean, still to this day, I forget the main newspaper down there. The Gleamer, Son of the Gleamer, or something like that, is the pretty popular paper down there. The Gleamer, or something like that, and the Sun, or something like that. That's my knowledge. Yeah, it was all over the newspaper. So the Jamaicans that were actually Jamaican from Jamaica, not the Americans in the embassy, but they helped me out, man. Like, yo, honestly, they were like, yo, man, I'm so fucking sorry for your loss, man. Yo, that's some tragic shit, you know, this, that, blah, 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 blah. Stamp, 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 here you go. They made it so I could have my son as to travel aboard on my passport. But I've had problems because I was actually, my passport's a little fucked up, because I was down in Mexico and I got caught stealing shit from tombs down there, from the pyramids. So I was in trouble. A little scar on my thing. Nothing serious, but yeah. When I was down in Mexico, I actually snuck across the border with Maria Guadalupe Vega Palafox. For real, her brother tricked her into going back to Mexico, and I told her I'll get her back, and I did. But anyway, it's another girlfriend of mine for a while. Maria Guadalupe, shout outs. Yeah. It was a horrible time, and I got back to America, and I enrolled my son in school, and I was just done, man. I really just was like I had no interest in eating or breathing, taking a shit, taking a piss, like life just, you know. And it was like at one point, and it's funny because. You ever watch Apocalypse Now? Like, you know, I also got my face busted open, like I explained, this cop from Delaware and Officer White down in Jamaica. So, you know, I had stitches in my eye that were removed, and, you know, I was talking to my family and stuff. So, my brother's funny. He's like, yo, this fucking guy, Rob, man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I'm all slumped up. He's like, Jesus Christ, man, you go down to fucking Jamaica. What are you, fucking Colonel Kuntz, you know, from Apocalypse Now, Marlon Brando? He's like, yo, the fuck, man, yo, dude, man, you gotta either live or fucking, like, something, man, but you gotta man up, man. You, like, slap me and shit, like, wake the fuck up, man. He's like, you got a kid to think about, man. All that shit ain't gonna fucking do nothing, man. That shit ain't gonna fucking put food on the table or do any of that shit. So my brother kind of snapped me out of it, like, literally slapped me out of it, like, wake the fuck up, man, stop being a little bitch. And that's what I did. And it took a while. I even came across problems in work. I was shriveling up. I was very thin. I was daydreaming. And I actually had a patch on my eye, like I explained. And they asked me to my work. It said I got to go to this employee assistance program. Now, in this employee assistance program, you know, they got therapy, and I already got my problems with them motherfuckers, like I said, from my childhood days. I don't like fucking with people like that. But anyway, I said, okay, kind of like my work is recalling it, and it's like a Family Medical Leave Act where I could take off whenever I want, because obviously I'm pretty sad by this shit. So anyway, I go to the Flatiron District building, that building right down 23rd Street, the Flatiron building. Is like an office for therapy, therapists, or psychiatrists, believe it or not. So I walk in with my scheduled appointment to meet this man. And he says, yeah, you know, we talked briefly over the phone. I'm going to give you so-and-so milligrams of this, that. He starts writing me prescriptions. You know. I said, excuse me, doctor. I barely even talked to you yet, other than scheduling this appointment over the phone. And he's like, yes, but you lost a loved one. I said, I lost the woman of my life, the love of my life. And he's like, well, that must make you feel horrible. That here, you take these medication and you won't feel as horrible. And I said, well, fuck is that going to do, man? Why would I not want to feel horrible? Like, I love this woman. This is a normal cycle that people feel after they lose a loved one. People fucking die, man. Shit fucking happens. I get it. I understand all that shit perfectly clear. But what I need to know is, how do you take care of a fucking baby? That was my problem. Like, I don't need to sit here and talk. I said, I'll figure that shit out when my kid's 18, 19 years old. Then I'll let you guys go in there and screw around on my head a little bit. But right now, I'm a father, and I need to know about that, you know. Oh, well, you know, we don't this, that. I'm sorry, I have no, and I actually explained to them on the phone what I'm looking for, but they lied. Oh, yeah, come on in, you know, this, that, and none of that. In the meantime, I'm actually buying books on how to be a father. I mean, I've also explained in past things, and this might sound cynical, but I've always had exotic pets. I've had reptiles, I've had Burmese pythons, reticulated pythons, American alligators, Cayman alligators, emerald tree python, boas. I've had the fucking all types of crazy shit. European glass lizards with no legs. I've had snapping turtles, the fucking size of garbage can lids. You know, I'm pretty good at adapting temperatures and heat and feeding them and keeping them alive. I've even had these Cambodian tarantulas. They're like aqua blue. You have to mist the tank because they're kind of rainforesty. So I'm pretty good at keeping animals alive. So I knew I could actually keep a baby alive, but, you know, just feed it this, that, blah, 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 blah. But it's like the nurturing and all that, it's shot from me. Like I said, since a child, I've been like an animal. I've been living like a fucking animal. Like just cutting and slicing and dicing my way through fucking life, robbing and stealing. I didn't want that for my child. I mean, to me, it's fun for me, you know. So, yeah, anyway, I never went back to that psychiatrist guy. I realized this guy is some kind of kook. Like, he's just giving me medications. And I kind of got on him about that. Like, you're over here giving me, like, mood suppressors and shit like that. And, like, you know, I didn't even talk to me. He's like, no, but with therapy, like, you take these pills, and then with therapy, you'll get better or something. I'm like, man, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit. Take these pills, I'll be walking around like a fucking zombie and shit, man. I gotta be there for my kid. And once again, like I've just explained, I believe my last thing, not really big on drugs like you people would think. You know, yeah, I like the cocaine, stuff like that, yeah, but like, yeah, pills, man, like, nah, that's not me, never was. Like, even my son, and with the same girl that I was just talking about that I used to hang out with in Staten Island that found this diary, Father's Day, she was coming to New York City from Staten Island to take me to, on Father's Day, with my son to see that movie Superman when it came out. The movie Superman. So when that movie Superman came out, she was coming here to see me. And it was Father's Day. So my son decides to wash the dishes for me. He's older at this point. He's not a toddler or nothing. Many years have passed. And the sink, you know, I was doing the dishes and it was filled with suds and water. So he said, Dad, you know, it's Father's Day. I'd like to do the dishes for you. I said, yeah, sure. That's very nice of you, son. You know, so I go, as the bell rings, you know, the girl comes in. Hey, how's it going? You know, this, that. And my son comes up. He's bleeding. Now, when he's bleeding, what happened is there was a steak knife inside a coffee cup facing up like this. Like, see, here's a coffee cup. But the steak knife was facing up like that. And then there was a bunch of suds. So he reached in like this. I can't find it. His camera's a little tricky. He reached in like that and it cut his hand. Same as that kind of cut I got on my hand. You know, I came in, knocked on the door. Didn't want to interrupt us or just bust in and maybe we're doing something sexual or something, you know. He knocks on the door and opens. He's holding his hand up, he's bleeding all over the place. So we bring him to the hospital down the block here. They sew it up and everything. And they got to go back in and after that heals and tie together some tendons and shit like that snapped from him cutting his hand. But they offered him medication for pain. I'll tell you, to this day, I got that fucking thing sitting up there in an envelope. I never filled the prescription. I never gave it. They gave him one when they were actually, you know, they numbed his hand out when they were operating on it and shit like that. And I mean, he's very young. And I don't know, maybe someone would consider that child abuse or something. But let me see if I can make this clearer to you guys. All right, hold on. I don't know if you can see here. Here, can you read that? That's it. Can you read that? That says pain is pleasure. Now, see, pain, like I said with my past relationships with women. I like pain. But anyway, in the sense of my son, I believe pain, medication at a young age like that, what's going on in the world nowadays would cause problems. So, I mean, he never bitched and complained or moaned or anything like that. He was okay. He wasn't really happy. He didn't suffer from much pain. But that's to show you how I look at pain medications and medications that fuck with your moods and depression and stuff like that. I believe it's a no-no, man. If you got problems with shit like that, man, you got problems with shit like that. Figure out a natural way to handle that shit. But believe me, man, fucking pills, man, they're destroying the world right now. My bottom opinion. And it's the truth of these fucking pharmaceutical companies. Whatever, you guys know. You read the papers, you see the news and stuff. But, yeah, there's that. So, anyway, I come back to New York, and I actually am living with Joey TDS at this point. Yeah. When I first come back, when the girl that was actually in this apartment I'm in here on Father's Day, my son hurt his finger, but when I first came back from Jamaica, I was staying with my mother and my brother and my son for a while, maybe the first couple of weeks. I was sleeping on the floor, my son was sleeping in the bed with my mother, my brother was sleeping in the bedroom. Big old Bones, the dog, be my pillow. I curl up with the dog on the floor. And then Joey, TDS, the Death Squad, Joey, said, yo, Rob, man, come on, man, come up with me. So I went, and see, that's one thing, like, Joey, man, that dude's like fucking really like family, man. I love that fucking dude, man. Like, a lot of people, you know, this, that, blah, 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 blah. But, yo, throughout my stories of my life, who's always been there for me? Joey, TDS, man. That's the fucking truth, yo. Like, he took me in, man. He was like, yo, he actually just got a brand new leather sofa, like a suede leather sofa. It just came, like, delivered. They set it up and everything. Yo, and my son, and we'll put him on there, you know. I was actually changing his diaper. It was like, we were there for like 4 or 5 hours up in the Bronx, and Joey lives. I know Joey's from like around 106 Park Ave, Hall of Fame. This is when he was living up in the Bronx. I believe he still lives up in the Bronx. Anyway, you know, he's like, yo, Rob, you know, come stay here with me and shit. You know, this, that. Didn't even ask money for rent or nothing like that. So I was staying with him. Like I said, changing my baby's diaper. I put down a little blanket on the floor. I'm sitting on the floor, Indian style, on the rug. I picked the kid up like this, right? Put him on the new sofa. Starts pissing all over. I can think. I spent like 4 or 5 hours ago, maybe. Nah, I was at work. Maybe it came about 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning when I was at work. And this is about 6 o'clock in the evening. My son pissed all over it. So Joey calls up the company. He's like, yo, man, what the fuck, man? My mattress, the pillow cushions of this thing, they're all fucked up. They got some kind of weird substance on them, you know. It's like, oh, this, that. So they come in and give him a whole new sofa, whole new leather couch and everything. Take out that one and everything, you know. Yeah, Joey's always come through for me like that, man. He really has. And, yeah, stayed with Joey for about a year. Yeah, got my shit together. Monique lives with Joey's girl. She would take care of Bobby in the mornings and the afternoon and stuff when I'm at work. And I come home from work and everything. I was able to stack up my money. I took care of a few other things. Like I said, I had a house and stuff like that. Blah, 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 blah. That purchased and sold. So I was just trying to get an apartment. Finally, I got an apartment. And, yeah, that's that. We got an apartment, and I was staying there for a while. This was actually in Queens, not Long Island City, Astoria, Queens. Broadway and Steinway, across from Felon's Bar, P-H-L-E-M, something bar, Phlegm Bar, some Irish joint. Upstairs they have the OTB, where you could bet on the horses. That's when I was hanging out with Tech a lot. Tabs, Tees would come by, a bunch of people. Yeah, Ripe would drive me to work. I'd take the kid, yeah, because Ripe was a cab driver at that point. I lived right above the hardware store, right across the street from there. The people that owned that building was the people that owned that hardware store. And, yeah, so then at that point now, everything's good. I'd wake up in the morning, Ripe, Tommy, Ripe, cab driver. He would drive into Manhattan to start his shift. He would be a yellow cab driver, drive a yellow cab around. So he'd be starting his shift. So he'd drop the kid off at my mother's house. I'd have a bicycle locked up there, hop on the bike and go down to work. At one point in the winter, Tommy Wright, my brother would be right down First Avenue. When he'd come off the bridge, he'd take the baby. Boom, I'd stay in the car, go right to fucking down 2nd Avenue to my job. Boom, Wright would do his job, driving around the city. And then I'd go back up to get my kid, go back on the subway, home. That's what I would do every day. Well, now, this goes on for maybe a year or two. I bump into Lace, L-A-C-E, Lace 357. Andrew. He also wrote Drew, he wrote Amp, he wrote Jolt, he wrote a bunch of graffiti. He's the dude who kind of got me into graffiti. And when I bump into him, I say, yo, dude, man, what's up with the graffiti action, man? He's like, shit, what the fuck's been going on with you, man? I was like, hear all types of crazy shit, man. I'm like, yo, man. I said, yeah, it's had a rough patch there, you know? A couple of lean years. I was like, well, what's up with the graffiti world, man? What's going on? He said, I don't fuck with that shit. You know me, I'm MTA, dog. I don't fuck around with the streets and stuff like that. I said, well, listen, thinking about jumping around and getting back into this graffiti thing. He's like, what the fuck are you talking to me for? MTA? I said, well, no, that's what I'm thinking. And you see, we go underground. We start hitting the tunnels. Now we hit the abandoned stations, tunnels, the mouths of tunnels where the trains come out from underground to above ground. I said, that should last forever. And I think it's a safe bet for me. I mean, I don't think none of my graffitis lasted. Everything is all crossed out and buffed by now in the street, and kind of like a has-been. So let's sneak around. He said, I'll get back to you on that, Rob. So, all right. Eventually, we started doing that. We started writing in train tunnels and stuff like that. And, yeah, I took my business underground. So for like the next 4 or 5 years, maybe, 5 years maybe, the next 5 years, pretty much did graffiti underground in the train tunnels. And we'll get into that. Now, please stay on this video, and right after this here, I'm going to show you pictures of Kadi and me and my son in Jamaica, the West Indies. And yeah, like I've said before, losing Kadi was very hard on me. And I believe it was amplified with the fact that I had a son, a child, and I knew nothing about children or how to take care of children. I had no idea that, and the fact that the love of my life, like I honestly pictured myself being with this woman for the rest of my life. I really did. Like, we've had good things going on down in Jamaica, and money was coming in pretty good. I mean, after 9/11, a lot of shit got hit hard. Shit got fucked up. But in between, when I was down in Jamaica, what I would do is I'd come back to America every so often, and she owned, Kadi Ann, she owned a hair braiding business in White Swan Plaza. Now, in White Swan Plaza upstairs, she had this little boutique area. So I've had like a lot of people, like I said, very Christian people. A lot of the people were getting their hair done in that business, in that location, the only location. She did start to open one up in Kingston, but of course she passed away before that happened. And her clientele, and I say her clientele because I stayed out the place. I mean, the name of the place, New York Styles. But I stayed out of the place because what the fuck does a white boy from New York know about a black girl from Jamaica's hair? You got me? Like, there's no purpose for me to be there. If anything, I'm bad for business. So I pretty much stayed out of it. But what I would do is I'd come into New York and I'd fill up 2 70-pound suitcases with hair extensions and all this stuff I'd buy there on the Garment District in the 20s off of Broadway. Same place that Rum bought those fake watches in one of my past videos. So I'd go and I'd buy all these hair extensions and even some women's clothing. I'd go up to Southern Boulevard. I'd go to Fordham Road, different places up in the Bronx. You get clothes for cheap. bunch of places up there, it's like TJ Maxx type shit or something, but even cheaper than that, you know. So I'd fill up these 2 suitcases, 70 pounds worth of acrylic fake hair, real hair, all types of women's clothing. It's kind of like summery because, of course, it doesn't get cold down there. And I'd fill up these suitcases with shit like that. I mean, of course, I'd be knowledgeable of it. We'd look through magazines. She'd say stuff that looks like this, that. I'd see what other people wear down there. So, I mean, I'm no fucking fashion dude or nothing, but I got the idea. And it was a very successful business. It was going on down there. It was very successful. She actually had a few employees, this and that. People were actually down there that were barbers, that were cutting hair. You had people who would actually put the extensions in their hair. It was working good. It's almost like the original reason I was down there, I didn't need to do that no more. Like the original reason that I landed there, and I haven't told you people that, and it's none of your business. But I actually could live real life down there with no crime, without having to commit criminal acts to support myself. I honestly, like through this hair braiding business that Kadi had developed and thrived at, it was working very good for us, very, very well. But 9/11 happened, and now I keep saying the clientele that she saw in that place were normally women that worked in the hotels, in like the tourist areas. They'd go there and get their hair done, like say they work in a hotel, whether they're meeting people, greeting people, cleaning rooms, vacuuming rooms, or they're bartenders, or they're working in some little souvenir shop or whatever. They'd come to us and they'd get their hair done, so they could look good for the tourists and they can make good money. And it helps them. You know, you don't want to be working there looking all fucked up because you know, it won't work that way. You have to wear uniforms and stuff like that. So those are the type of people that would come in and get their hair done. And no tourists and stuff like that. We were off the forbidden path. So, you know, it's like a plaza. So tourists, I mean, I guess 1 or 2 times you might have a tourist that comes in there. A lot of people overstay, they're welcome. And I mean, most people that do stay down there, they're hiding from someone. Like, you know what I mean? Or something somewhere in the rest of the world. Because down there, it's like, you know, no worries. Yes, no worries until there's worries, you know. But, yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. And Kadi, yeah, like I said, I love 3 women in my life, man. 3 women in my life, man. And that one was hard, man. That is one of the hardest, or if not the hardest time I've went through in my life. And I'll never forget her. I have her son here, who's becoming a very, very talented artist in his own right. Very respectful, very mature. Bobby's doing all right for himself. Kadi, rest in peace. Always love you.